Well, it's great to have an opportunity to talk to the alumni of our medical college, and I'd like to share with you some of my thinking around what we're doing these days in the area of medical education, maybe talk about the trajectory that we've been on and where we're headed. We've been on a 200-year path as pioneers of medical education in this country and probably for the world. Founded back in 1824 as Jefferson Medical College, where we were the first to train students at the bedside. Since I've been here over the last almost 14 years now, we've continued that pioneering of medical education tradition. The showcase for us is the JeffMD curriculum, which we launched about 5 years ago. We just graduated our first all JeffMD class this year, and I can tell you that it's not just a home run, but it was a grand slam for us. If you look at where the students have been matching, it's really been a fantastic trajectory. And we got rid of a lot of the formal lectures, have a lot more small groups and case-based learning formats and a variety of other things. A scholarly inquiry requirement for all our students and a lot more. So that's been very exciting and a real success for us. But our education work goes far beyond just the JeffMD curriculum. We've been really pioneering this concept of medical co-curriculum under the banner of what we call Medicine Plus. Things like Medicine Plus Humanities to foster reflective thinking, Medicine Plus Design for human-centered design thinking, Medicine Plus Data Sciences and computational thinking, and a variety of other things. And just incredible things have been coming out of that. You know, for instance, just out of Medicine Plus Design in our Jeff Design work, we've now been able to have second-year medical students come up with concepts for over 15 startup companies, often working in small teams with students from our design college, and industrial design students, textile students, and the like. We've continued our great tradition in terms of extracurricular, working out into community outreach. We have the nation's first Department of Integrative Medicine and Nutritional Sciences in an allopathic medical school. We're quite proud of that. We launched a longitudinally integrated curriculum. And the wild and crazy thing we just did is launched a pathway for a global dual MD, where students will get not one, but 2 MD degrees and a Master's in International Population Health from our College of Population Health at the same time. These students will be able to practice in the entire European Union, the entire United States, and a good part of the rest of the world, this concept of a global physician. So we haven't been sitting on any laurels. We've been moving and pioneering medical education forward. And we're now looking towards the future. What's next? What do we do further to make sure that this medical college, is a pioneer not just for education on our home turf, but what is it we're doing that really could be exemplar for where things are headed in the mid-21st century. And so we're doing a lot of work now on visioning the physician of the future, that is a physician of the mid-21st century who will look a lot different than physicians do now, and making sure that we're doing everything we can to foster not just the competencies, but the human qualities and the cross-cutting ways of thinking that will really shine forth for that concept of a future physician. And we're likely to organize an international conference in the coming 2 to 3 years where we will really showcase our thinking around that in a significant way. As we've done all of this in the medical college, probably one of the more important things that we've done is secure the future. We have the 5th largest medical college by class size. Of course, we have the largest medical alumni base in the country. But that means that we need clinical rotation sites. And so we've been on this incredible journey over the last decade to expand the clinical footprint of Jefferson. And we are one of the fastest growing academic medical centers in the country. We've scaled from just 2 hospitals to 18 hospitals recently, and most recently coming together with the Einstein Health System here in Philadelphia. And that means that we have secured the training sites for our students moving into the future. We're in the process of what I call a year of strategic planning, not just for the university, but also for the medical college. We've just completed a rather thoughtful, I believe, strategic plan for the medical college as we move forward. At the same time, we're doing a very thorough strategic planning process around the research enterprise for this institution. Talking about securing the future, I really would want to reflect back on some of the actions that we've taken in the spirit of securing our future. I know that some of this may have raised a few eyebrows for some of our alumni, questions of whether we should have done this or that. But I want to assure all of our alumni that this is all done in the name of securing the future of this institution. Just because a medical college has been around for 200 years doesn't mean that it'll be here for the next 200 years. And while we think about legacy and honoring legacy, preserving our history and building on it, at the same time, we have to be willing to adapt, transformation. And I often talk about legacy plus transformation. Take, for example, the sale of the Akins paintings. That happened before I got here as dean, so I inherited that decision that came out of it. But I can tell you, if we now look back at that move, I think without a doubt you'd have to say it was the absolute right move, and certainly at the time. This institution was not in the financial position that it is right now. At the time, we were of a much smaller scale. Our hospitals actually sat under a separate corporate entity as part of an old Jefferson Health System. And the decision was made to see if we can get through the sale dollars that could be used towards endowment and building some of the key things that we had to do here. And I think in retrospect, that in fact is what we've done, and it's been done in a very significant kind of way. The dollars that we were able to generate from the sale of the Akins paintings really powered the ability to do some of that key transformation. The retention and recruitment of key faculty through endowed professorships, and quite importantly, what we're able to do in terms of our students and providing scholarships. An institution such as ours is not the canvas that it owns. An institution like ours, it are the people that we nurture, the students that we train, and the difference we make as an institution that looks to its surrounding communities and more broadly to the global world and what we can do to contribute to all of that. I'd also point out that these paintings were not really well kept, nor could they be properly kept. They weren't in a climate-controlled environment. Frankly, restoration also included getting rid of cigarette butt marks on the rim of this painting. And so the restoration work that was undertaken for these paintings was really critical. And these paintings really deserve to be protected and cared for in a museum environment. And when you have the chance to see them in their current setting, in their restored state, I think it's pretty clear that what we did was really appropriate. Many other colleges and universities have faced similar challenges, and really these kinds of paintings deserve to be cared for in a proper way in a museum type of environment. Similarly, taking the opportunity and the incredible generosity of Sidney Kimmel in allowing us to get $110 million as a naming gift, that has really spearheaded all sorts of things for us. For starters, we have used those dollars in a match to grow the number of endowed professorships in this medical college, and we're now at 100. That means that close to 40 additional endowed professorships have been generated out of that. And that is critical for an institution such as ours, because it's the endowed professorships that allow you to recruit and retain really world-class faculty moving forward. And it sends an incredibly powerful message when you're able to do that. Similarly, we have a really pressing need for more scholarships to do what's called tuition discounting. We have nowhere near the tuition discounting that we should have here. And we've used the dollars coming from the Sidney Kimmel philanthropic gift to power ourselves forward in terms of endowed student scholarships in a very significant way, and we're going to continue to do so to the future. When it comes to the question of naming of medical colleges, I think it's interesting to note that 5 out of 7 Ivy medical schools have taken philanthropic gifts for renaming their medical schools. And I would argue that it was almost an act of recognition and distinction to do that. You know, who would want to be the medical school that didn't take advantage of those kind of philanthropic dollars and moving forward? And of course, the name of this university is still Thomas Jefferson University, and we are affectionately called Jefferson by so many, both inside and outside of our walls. So yes, we sold Canvas. We changed our name, but it's all for an important purpose and all in the name of a trajectory to secure the future of this institution, not just for decades, but hopefully for centuries to come. I'd like to make an additional point here. An institution like ours are the people that we nurture, the students that we train, and the difference we make as an institution that looks to its surrounding communities and more broadly to the global world and what we can do to contribute to all of that. And in that vein, as we look to the future, one of the key things we'd like to accomplish is increasingly mold the kind of student body that we have here. We're incredibly proud of the students we've brought in over these decades and centuries, so don't get me wrong. But we want to be a bit more intentional of certain kinds of students. In one area in particular, for instance, diversity, scholarships play an enormously critical role in getting just the kind of students that we need here in the medical college. And so one of the purposing of the match, the Kimmel matching dollars, and we hope other kinds of matching dollars that we get in the future will be towards diversifying our class, and by diversity, by the way, it's across many different dimensions. First in college and their family for us is a diversity kind of component. And so we're thinking across a number of different diversity dimensions in terms of what we are looking to accomplish here. The other thing is we would like to advance the assured admission linkages, and that is a key part of our strategic vision for the future. We start to nurture the kinds of students as undergraduates that we then have assured admission to our medical college. One example of that is the assured admission linkage we've developed with Princeton University. Our future direction is really geared towards thinking about the qualities of the physician that we are trying to nurture. As we look to a world where we have machine intelligence, nurse practitioners and physician assistants who are ever more empowered, we'll have to be open to rethinking the role of the physician. Exactly what is it that we think the physician's going to be doing? And I like to think in terms of the 4 C's as I vision that future physician. The physician, first and foremost, will be a comforter, someone who understands disease processes, understands patients and individuals, and is the one there who can be the human and have the human qualities to relate to the patient past the diagnosis and thinking through the future. The physician has to be the coordinator of the healthcare team, often with the most advanced training in that group. So they have to be team leader. That physician is a consultant to many, but starting with consultant to the patient, navigating the complex set of information coming in online and offline in all kinds of directions. Who can really advise that patient in terms of how to bring all those threads together? And then, of course, it's the creator. The physician will be a key person driving the future evolution of medical education, further technological advances. And so moving forward, we have to be thinking about what is the medical education and how do we optimize the medical education to cultivate those physician dimensions. And that's sort of the larger concept that we have as we now look to the future and ask, where do we take Jeff MD into the future? Jeff MD has started us in that path, small group learning and a lot of things that emphasize human qualities of the physician. But we're very excited about the future and the possibility of moving forward along those lines. It's very easy to have a false sense of security in an institution, of thinking, well, everything seems to have been going right until now. Why make some major move and major change? Why do something like renaming yourself? Or why do something like, sell a painting and an asset? I think those are actually legitimate questions to ask, but I think they also have a very clear answer, which is it's got to be part of a larger sense of responsibility towards the future of an organization, and understanding that financial integrity and solid financial footing of the organization is critically important. There are certain key initiatives and programs and things that one must do to advance an organization that your basic operating dollars simply don't cover. And so what we really have been thinking about, and my predecessors before me and subsequent to me will continue to think about, is how do we do the right things by the institution with a long-term view to make sure that this institution remains relevant, remains vibrant, and continues to do its great mission. I can tell you, I'm incredibly excited for the future of the Sidney Kimmel Medical College, of Thomas Jefferson University, and what we're doing here. I can tell you the student body is engaged. They have truly shown their colors, as has the faculty during a trying time of a pandemic. And I couldn't be more proud of students and faculty and staff and everything they've done to advance this medical college. And I feel confident and genuine in conveying to you a sense that this place has the right people and the right principles in advancing the agenda of this organization. So my responsibility is to you, the alumni. I often will say that the real owners of institution are not a dean at a given moment in time. It's not even the board of trustees. We're all custodians. The real owners of the institution are our alumni. It's you, the alumni, because you're with us forever. This is your alma mater. And so our responsibility is to you. And I can tell you that a sale of a painting, a renaming, these are all things done not for short-term purpose, but really with a view towards the long-term and making sure your asset, the medical college that is your alma mater, is strong moving into the future. I want to thank all of you for your willingness to provide input, share your thoughts, and in fact, express your concerns where you may have them. For me, it is an interactive relationship. Decisions should be iterated between us because we together have a common goal, which is to elevate this great institution with an amazing 200-year legacy into the future. And I'm confident that together we can move forward in a very powerful way and really make a difference. Make a difference for the surrounding communities that we serve, and really make a difference for broader mankind. We have a very large ambition here, which is to pioneer medical education, pioneer research and discovery, and really elevate mankind and serve that particular role. I look forward to working with you closely as we move into the future together to do great things as we've done in the past.